G'day everyone, and a very happy new year to you all. I took some time off over the Christmas New Year period, time off from the painting desk. Been back now for the last week and have completed the next 10 Strathclyde horsemen using the metal gripping beast models. Now, as you remember from my last video, I finished the horses pre-Christmas, and so took me quite a while to get the riders done and the shields. A few challenges with these. One of the perennial problems with this type of sculpt is the way that weapons are gripped in the hands. Unlike the footsore miniatures, of which I've painted a lot, these have a claw hand. Now, footsore, they have a solid fist, and all you need is a pin vise drill and a quick drill through, and then you can drop a bit of super glue and put the spear or whatever in the hole. A much better solution, in my opinion, but and far less likely to lose weapons that way, just from normal wear and tear. And as I've said in previous videos, super glue these days isn't so super, and I don't have a soldering iron, and I'm not going to be. My studio space nowadays is in my bedroom, and I don't think I want to be using a soldering iron in the bedroom. You know, I don't have space really elsewhere to be. I don't want to be moving everything around just to go and solder some stuff. So what I've had to do this time, because the last shipment I sent, some spears popped out of their hands, just because of the nature of this sort of, if I can demonstrate it, this kind of claw grip, where the hands are like this, you know, and even less of a thumb. There's almost like some of them, there's virtually no thumb at all. So it's quite difficult to get things to stay. You can get them in initially, but then just through a bit of handling, they just pop out again. And that can be an issue also with the shields. These shields, they have no fixing or anything. There's no peg or anything. They're just sort of glued against the arm or the body or whatever. So yeah, that could be better from a design point of view. But so what I've done, I've used super glue again, and I've actually, it doesn't probably show on the camera, but oh yeah, there we go. On each of the models, I actually super glued them in, and then out of green stuff, I sculpted a thumb, which I joined to the metal hand and sculpted a thumb so it actually looked like, because often there's also the not only is the claw grip, I mean, yeah, it means you don't have to drill things, but it looks less realistic as well, because it doesn't look like they're really grasping the weapon fully in the round. Like, yeah. So, yeah, I sculpted thumbs on each of these figures. So let's hope they don't pop out, because it's just one of those things. It's a design issue. So what I'll do is I'll just bring up each figure. I haven't taken the photos yet. I'm going to do that second this time. Usually I do it the other way around. So there will be some stills at the end, hopefully. So yeah, this is the first guy. Oh, the other issues I had again was, and I think I've mentioned before, these transfers don't fit with these shields. Now I think they're the generic Dark Age Warrior set or something, but with these particular metal shields, they didn't fit properly. They don't sit within the circle of the shield. They overlap the leather rim and stick out over the side, and you've got I had a lot of issues with them sticking to the paper even after they were wetted and things. So it was a bit of a faff, to be honest. So I have to fold them over the edges around here, and then they have to be painted over, paint in a new rim of leather, and then you've got to, like I always say, a couple of good sealing coats of matte varnish to try and help prevent the shrinkage. And then I a bit of sort of subtle lining in round the rim, and a bit of use of to weather them down a bit further. I've been using Game Colour Smoky ink, quite very watered down, in the lower half of the shield and around the boss and stuff, to just help with the weathering and the lining in, as well as using diluted brown liner from Reaper just to line in around the inside rim of the shield. So it was a bit of faff with these, unfortunately. Yeah, but yeah. Apart from that, I'm pleased with how they turned out. It's always a challenge to come up with color combos and things that seem appropriate. Here's the next guy. I can't vouch for how suitable the shield designs are for Strathclyde guys. Strathclyde really was like a sub-Roman kind of kingdom in its origins, a Roman British remnant kingdom that lasted for quite a long time, based around their stronghold of Dumbarton Rock. And so, they are called Welsh as well, but then that was a generic, the Anglo-Saxons tended to use Welsh as a generic cover-all term for the people who were here already, basically, the Romano-British people. And Strathclyde was one of those sort of remnant kingdoms that had established after the Romans had withdrawn. I mean, it may well be that perhaps it had been an administrative district under the Romans. I don't know. But so, yeah, I think when we say that they're Strathclyde Welsh, that doesn't mean that they're the same as the Welsh kingdoms as what we call Wales today. But that whole people, the Cornish, the Welsh, the Strathclyde, and there were a lot of other smaller Romano-British kingdoms which were gradually absorbed into the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms of Northumbria, Mercia, Wessex, and such. But Strathclyde was one of the longest lived ones that continued, I think, until, I think they were present at the Battle of Brunanburh with Athelstan, I think. I might be wrong. But anyway, I think they lasted certainly till probably the 9th century, maybe longer, maybe the 10th. I haven't got my books in front of me. So here we go. There's another. Like I say, I've gone for some different horse colours than the previous lot. They're on most of them are on a smaller sort of hill pony mount, which is more appropriate, I guess. And the shield designs are fairly generic. I wouldn't say they had a particularly Welsh or even Celtic or Roman design. They're just sort of generic, bit of this, bit of that. There's one or two of them that are even slightly Viking looking, but because they've got ravens on them. But they were in the pack, and sometimes it's a matter of finding which ones are a better color match. They don't clash too much, or they complement the figure. So yeah. These are sort of the lower status riders. So they don't have really super bright clothing. Well, none of the guys do really. Not super bright, because they use natural dyes. I mean, you can achieve some quite vibrant colours using natural dyes available at the time. They could get a lot of colours could be created, but I imagine that they weren't as colour fast, certainly not as colour fast as the modern chemical processes we use, but and depending on how long you were out on campaign and the weather and all this sort of stuff, right, and might affect the colours, the sun bleaching them out a bit and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's got some sort of raveny sort of shields. Certainly later in the period, there may have been temporary alliances with Vikings and things, and yeah. So we'll do a bit of a spin around of these guys. They're nice cloaks to paint. Some nice flowing shapes there. Get highlights on and things. So these next four are more sort of noble cavalry, or they might be, I guess in Saga terms, they may be Hearthguard, mounted Hearthguard perhaps. So yeah, she's got a nice rusty red cloak. Looks quite smart. Yeah. Rather nice. And another guy. Yeah. So the Hearthguard guys have all got some chainmail somewhere, and all have got metal helmets, even if they haven't. I think there's one that doesn't have a mail shirt underneath. So there's that guy, and this chappy here. So yeah, they could definitely make blues, but they probably tended to be like these, are more of a bluey grey, because obviously you couldn't use woad for making blues. Certainly not like the more intense sort of royal blues and things that you would get with the Byzantines and sort of the wealthier parts of the Mediterranean in this time. But yeah, you could still achieve a lot of colours. And here's the last guy. And again, so he's got a bit of a raven going on. But yeah, I was quite pleased how that the colouring on that pony turned out. So yeah, his mail is basically just around his helmet. Other than that, he's quite simply attired, but you know, he's got some brighter colours, bit of trim. Yeah, and they're all spear armed. Only a couple of them have swords strapped to their waists. Yeah. So yeah, quite pleased with those. Now, I don't have any Christmas loot to show. I didn't really get anything related. Yeah, actually, yeah, the thing I did get, I got, and I think I mentioned I was hoped I would get it. Was my in-laws gave me $100 gift voucher for a local art shop in one of the neighbouring towns, which is quite well stocked with stuff. So yeah, I better spend that up and pick up some new brushes and maybe some more flow improver and bits and bobs. So that'll be great. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's about all. So I didn't. There'd been some summer holidays in the past where I'd take the time to paint some things for myself, but no, I spend most of it just relaxing with the family or out in the garden doing gardening. This time of year, it's time for vegetable gardens and stuff like that. So that's something that I enjoy. Yeah, I don't really have mojo for doing, hobby for myself. After painting, often I'm quite tired after a day of painting and not enthused to do more for myself. So yeah, I do a bit in the garden, or I relax by playing a PC game, relaxing PC game like Farming Simulator, which is a very chilled game and helps me to unwind. So look, yeah, I'd like to maybe one day get back into doing something at a smaller scale, but we'll see. We'll see if the mojo comes back for that. But in the meantime, I'm still enjoying painting stuff, and I think next on in the painting cube, I think it might be some Carthaginians. I think, yeah, might give those a shot. I think there's an elephant in that lot too, for a customer in Queensland. So yeah, all right, guys. I hope everything's going well for you, and thanks for taking time to watch the video. And I'll try and put some stills of these chaps at the end for you. All right, we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.